Hello Pisces, welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Pisces is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button. Leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. These readings are totally free. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Pisces, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And here we have an Ace of Wands. This is some really wonderful, concentrated energy. I think you're somebody that when you get fixed on something, when you set your sights on something, everything else sort of blurs, right? This is the card of attention. This is the card of our ability to sort of focus on one thing. You look at any object, anywhere in your life, look at something right now, and see how everything else sort of loses focus a little bit. All right, now I'm looking at the lens of the camera, and everything else is a little bit blurry. I can still see the peripheral vision and stuff, and still see things over there, but what's really in focus is what I'm looking at right now. And everything else is a little bit backgrounded, okay? So it's our ability to focus our attention, and you have this ability. And so I guess Spirit's maybe asking, like, what are you focusing on right now? What has captured your attention? What are you looking at in life, generally, not just like literally, but in your life? What is it that you are focusing on and letting everything else sort of blur into the background? Okay, let's put this card into a little bit of context. Maybe we will get some answers. Here we have a Four of Pentacles. We have a Queen of Wands. We got the Emperor. Of course, we always get the Aries Emperor. I should start ringing the bell for this as one of your power cards, Pisces, because I was about to call you Aries, because this is always showing up in your readings lately. You always have this reference to the Aries energy in your readings because Pisces, well, obviously you're the last sign of the zodiac. It's natural that in the progression of the zodiac, you're going to be evolving into the Aries energy. You might be on the cusp. You might be taking on some more Aries type qualities. But the Emperor is able to focus on what it is building. This is the builder. This is what you're building. This is the life, a stable life. Maybe this is focusing on financial stability. We have a Two of Swords. Over here we have a very passionate, very fiery Strength card, also called Lust. We have a Knight of Swords. We've got the Wheel of Fortune. And we have the High Priestess. Very good. There's a reason why the Wheel of Fortune is in the position of the difficulty, because this is divine timing. What the Empress likes to do, or the Emperor likes to do, is focus your attention on what you are building, and I want it done now. Fire to earth, right? Fire to earth, fire to earth. We have a lot of fire and earth right here. We want things to be accomplished when we say they're going to be. I want to put in the work and have it be done. I don't want to have to rely on the weather, the seasons, other people, random chance events or coincidences, right? So we're sort of rejecting the idea of luck here, and we're saying, no, it's not luck. It's my fire and earth. It's my intention and my attention that is building this foundation. Okay? What we realize here at the end is that we don't need luck. What we need is our intuition. We need to be guided by the divine light in our life. And that's going to help us to expand upon this foundation that we're building. So it could be that you are, right now, you've got your attention fixed on building good habits. Maybe on establishing a solid and stable foundation. This is health and wealth, fitness and finances. This is safety, security, stability. That might be where you're focused on. We're trying to build the platform, trying to build the foundation of this wonderful palace that we're building out of our life. Okay? So we might be going back to basics right now. We might be focusing on technique, that sort of thing. All right? Now, let's select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down right here with big red ant right on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end. It will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation at the end of the reading, okay? If you have a prediction for that card, put it in the comments. Use that intuition. Now, as we look around the room, we see 1, 2, 3, and a 4th major arcana energy. I like that we have these three, the 3 points of the pyramid, right? These 3 positions are very, very interesting, and they're all sort of interconnected. It's your past, it's your general energy, it's your future. Okay, so it's sort of past, present, and future here. We have a kind of decision, we have an authority, we have a assuming of power, a taking of accountability. We've taken responsibility for our life. We're living our life with more passion, with confidence, with this capability. We're aware that we have this magic power, the ability to control our forces and to build the life we want. This is a card that says, I know that I am magic, and I know that I can create the life I want. All I've got to do is reach up into the spiritual realm and pull down the life I want, and I can create it. So this is a card of recognizing our own power and being able to harness that power. Of course, we have to be guided by our intuition. So we've got our authority, our accountability, we've got our magical power, and we've got our intuition, all in this very wonderful alignment that's saying you can build this foundation and you can grow this into really anything that you like. This is this kind of feels like we're climbing up a mountain. We have the sun in Capricorn with this card, right? The 4 of Pentacles. It feels like we're climbing up the mountain and we're building little base camps along the way. You know, if you ever watch shows about Mount Everest, they have their base camp, and they've got like Camp 1, Camp 2, Camp 3, Camp 4 way in the death zone, you know. So I feel like you're kind of establishing a settlement at every point you go. You're sort of you're having these breakthroughs where the old ceiling becomes the new floor. We're establishing a new baseline, okay, with this card. So anyway, we've got our majors. We're kind of rejecting this idea of luck right now, but we'll see that this is more than just luck. We've got fire. We don't have any water in the reading, which is interesting, right? We've got a little bit of air, and we've got a couple of earth cards here. Okay, so why is there no water? Well, I feel like right now you're in a very concentrated and active mode, right? A lot of these cards are very active cards. Of course, we have Aries, we have Leo, we even have this fiery kind of Sagittarius card. You're very much focused on what you're building here. Okay, so it's a very active, very intentional, very like yang energy. What we don't have is the yin energy. We don't have any kind of yielding. We don't have any kind of relaxation or slowing down. We don't have much in the way of pleasure right now, except for the Queen of Wands. Now, Queen of Wands is beneath the surface. This is inside of you right now. To me, this feels like a burning passion. It feels like this is a fierce, ambitious energy that wants to build this. It feels like I can do this. I don't need any help. I don't need any luck, right? It's sweat. It's perseverance. It is my own energy that's going to accomplish this. And the Queen of Wands does not like the water energy. Water is kryptonite to the Queen of Wands. Why? Because it extinguishes the fire. Okay, so this is that part of all. We all have this part in us, right? Everybody contains every tarot card, right? Just as everybody contains all of the planets and all of the zodiac signs, even if they're not very prominent. So this might not have been prominent for you, but this is a part of you, okay? And this is just a snapshot of your soul. This is just a kind of a map of what's going on with you right now. And you have this part of you is activated. And this is the part that doesn't want contentment, wants to continue doing the hard work. Why? Because it feels good to be accomplishing something. This is the not the pursuit of pleasure. This is the pleasure of pursuit. This is someone who is satisfied when they're doing the building. I don't care about the what I'm going to do with the building and who I'm going to invite over afterwards. This is the pleasure of like, I'm pursuing the goal. Okay, doing the work. You know, this is about I'm painting. I don't care about the paint itself or the masterpiece that I'm creating. I like to do the process. I like to be in the middle of the work. I like to be in that activity, you know. So it's not that's why there's no water. It's not the pursuit of pleasure. We're not doing this because, well, if I do it, then I will feel good. No, I'm doing it because it feels good to do it. Okay? And so this is someone that doesn't like the Ten of Cups because it's kryptonite to this card. Okay? Because the kryptonite is, let's say, the serotonin. I've accomplished my goal. I've had my fill of food. I'm content. I don't need anything right now. I'm not striving for anything. I'm just sort of rest and digest. I'm relaxed, right? This is the card that likes the dopamine, that likes the pursuit of the goal. That's what feels good. And to know that what we're doing is having an effect, right? That feels good. To feel like we're making a difference in life, to feel that we're making progress, that's where the joy really is right now. Okay, so that sort of explains the lack of water here. The Emperor in the background, I think very recently you embraced your own authority in life. So I feel like you sort of stood up for yourself recently, like you took charge, you know, and you decided to go your own way. Maybe you decided to take responsibility for your life. You decide to make some decisions that were yours and not anybody else's. So I feel like you took your power back. Okay. Maybe this means that you were in a situation where you were feeling that you were kind of being too much influenced by other people. Maybe controlled by somebody or manipulated, or there was somebody that was trying to dominate your life, right? I feel like you kind of got out of that. So I feel like this is about you taking the responsibility for your own course, for your own path, and what you're doing. Not blaming anybody else. We're taking it. This is mine. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to focus my attention on it. Here is the wand of the Emperor. This is the symbol of the authority. This is the symbol of your attention. And what you're putting your attention on is this earth energy, the Four of Pentacles. So this might be you saying, okay, you know what? I'm taking responsibility for my own financial situation, the bills, the house. Maybe this could be, just a picture of your home. Maybe this is about your physical foundations, your physical health, right? We're just kind of thinking, okay, you know what? Water, shelter, food, transportation. Maybe this is taking on a more active approach to our fitness and our well-being. Maybe it's physical health. Maybe it's, it could be emotional, right? It could be mental health, spiritual health, creativity. But we're taking an active role. We're being proactive. We're not yielding. We're not waiting. We're not being passive. We're not being the yin energy. We're where we are waiting for things to happen, perhaps, and then responding to them. This is like I'm out there and I'm digging myself out of the hole. I'm going to go put in the work and I'm going to make the change, right? Because what do we get from anytime we get a 4, right? Start looking around for the 5. This is the illusion of stability. We realize that we have to always be changing and growing and building upon this. That's why we have the ace, because the 4 plus the ace is obviously a 5. So you're intentionally making changes. You're having an impact on your life and things are getting better, okay? You have the builder energy up here above you. I think that this is your your work ethic. This is your tenacity. This is you showing up every day, being very reliable, very steadfast. You're willing to put in the work. Okay, I think people in your life would say that you're a very reliable person. It's like your new employer is calling all your references and all your friends and family are saying, they show up on time, calling your past employer. And they show up on time, they do a great job, they're hardworking, they're not easily distracted, they can work independently, they understand their work and they do it, they do a very good job at what they do. And that is the Prince of Pentacles, right? This is the energy that is not so much concerned with the past or the future, just what am I doing today? What is the work that I've got to try to do today? What are the habits that I'm doing, right? The four of Pentacles is very often the good habits we're trying to establish. And so we're not really thinking about tomorrow. Tomorrow's got its own series of choices. We're thinking about what I'm doing right today. This is what I'm paying attention to. These are the habits that I'm going to try to work on today. Tomorrow's going to work itself out. Tomorrow will be today pretty soon anyway. The Four of Pentacles is sometimes it's a routine. Okay, we have long-term goals. This card represents the short-term goals. It's talking about how our daily routines are what build the long-term goal, the long-term life, whatever it is. Whatever you want long-term, you know, you have to make that plan, but then you have to reverse engineer it, work your way back. What are the day-to-day operations that are going to build that life? Because we're not building the future in like that. We're building the present. And eventually, it's going to merge with that future. But we focus on what we can. I can't do the work of tomorrow. I got to do the work of today. All right. Now, in the near future, right, in the immediate future, we have a Two of Swords. I feel like there might be a crossroads approaching where you're going to be tempted to go a different way. Where it's kind of like, I almost feel like the card should be like this, you know, and we are going along our straight and narrow Ace of Wands, and then we come to a split in the road. We have to make a choice to either go left or go right. And so I feel like there's going to be an opportunity, there's going to be a temptation for you soon that's going to try to get you to abandon this focus of yours, right? Whatever you're looking at now, everything else is sort of blurred into the background. This is something that says, hey, forget about all that, come do this. Okay? So a choice is going to be appearing before you very soon. And it's going to be a choice of, do I abandon what I'm doing now and follow this different road? Or do I ignore this as a distraction and I stay fixed, I stay focused on this fire and earth energy right here, okay? And what we see in this card is the need to follow the intuition. So this is connecting us with our outcome here, which is that star. The only way to follow this properly, the only way to know what to do here is to tap into the intuition. Don't use your logic. Don't use your intellect. Don't reason it out. Don't weigh the pros and cons. Don't try to do the math. Don't get out the slide ruler and the calculator and the compass. It's an intuitive thing. And we see with the little crescent moon at the top of this card that we want to, let me rephrase that. We want to do the math. We want to get out the slide rule and weigh the pros and cons and make a list. We want to journal about it. Maybe when we want to get out a sheet of paper and say the reasons yes over here, the reasons no over here. And, you know, but the ultimate decision has to be an intuitive decision, because you can write and write and write and think and think and think until the cows come home. And we will be no closer to making a decision. The thoughts, the mind isn't what decides. The mind collects the data and categorizes, analyzes, thoughts becoming more thoughts, things become more and more complex. Pretty soon we're into an 8, a 9, a 10 of swords. We don't want that. That's why you're left with a 2. Because you're saying, okay, let's weigh the options real quick, let's do the math real quick, but let's trust the intuition when it's time to actually make a decision here. Otherwise, we're paralyzed. Otherwise, all progress stops. Because then both the builder and the queen of wands here are not able to do what they do because we're now stuck in our heads overthinking it. So this is a decision that needs to be made not by overthinking, but by intuition, with a little bit of thinking. Okay? Now over here, Path of the Serpent, we start with this passion, right? If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. The readings are totally free. Your strength, right? This is your inner strength. This is your ability to restrain yourself. This really is the card of discipline. Okay? And we have this discipline, and I think this is going to test your discipline. How strong are you? How fortified are you? How flimsy is your will right now, right? So we have to be able to sort of make a decision intuitively, know what the right course of action is. We have to follow the high priestess, because we know the high priestess is going to lead us to our good life. That's its role, right? Our intuition will never steer us wrong. But we have to be able to hear the voice of intuition, receive the message, and discipline ourselves enough, control ourselves enough to follow through with what that intuition says. So this card becomes your passion and your enthusiasm and your excitement, is that you love this path so much and you're so committed to it and you have this intense focus and this zeal for what you're doing that this temptation, this is nothing. This is not even going to be barely a fly buzzing in your ear. And it's going to be probably an easy decision for you, okay? Because you have this tremendous strength in you right now. This is your general energy, and this is discipline, strength, passion. Okay? Now, I don't know why Spirit's showing me an ice cream thing, an ice cream machine or something, or you make ice cream somehow. I don't think like typical ice cream. I think like it's something more like frozen fruit or something like this, but you make some kind of a dessert, which is, you can probably hear my stomach growling. Anyway, the next card in your relationships, in your environment, it is this, of course, the more swords cards, right? Air energy. It's a Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords is about you making high-level wisdom and discernment decisions. So it's your ability to deal with a lot of choices, a lot of temptations even, a lot of crossroads. Every moment is a crossroads. Every moment on this path, we're going to have to choose. We know that today I'm focused on these habits, these goals, this foundation. Tomorrow, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to be faced with a decision. Do I do this or do I not do this? Okay? And this is really you making a decision like that without really thinking about it anymore. It kind of has become an automatic decision. We're trusting in what we say. It's like somebody asks us a question, we answer it immediately. We don't have to sit there and scratch our head and think, well, I don't know. You're making decisions like this, okay? And so you have this confidence in yourself, this trust really, that says you know what the right thing to do is. And if you're following your star, if you're following the guiding light of the star, which is the intuition, the high priestess, if you're following that divine light, the choices are easy. The follow-through, the discipline, the commitment, the hard work, is still hard work. But the choice itself, like your mind is sharp. Your mind is making very good decisions right now. And so I feel like there's somebody in your life, they may be an air sign person, that is going to try to, perhaps lure you away from what you're focused on and maybe just outright ask you to stop doing it, to leave it alone, to abandon the goal. Okay? Maybe you're trying to save money and somebody comes along and says, hey, let's go spend a bunch of money today. It's going to be tempting, and you know what the right decision is, but you've got to trust that you're on the right path and you don't want to blow it at the last. You don't want to fumble things when you're so close to the goal, right? The card that we sort of don't want is the Wheel of Fortune. What we don't want is to be arbitrarily spun around the wheel. Some days I'm at the top, some days I'm at the bottom, and I don't want it to be out of my control, right? So what we're doing with the fire energy is we're trying to be in control of something. It's part of the human experience. We want to feel like we're in control of something. I want to feel like my efforts matter. I want to feel like I have some protection against the seeming randomness of the world. The Wheel of Fortune goes up, goes down. I don't want to spin the wheel and I either get $1 million or I get bankrupt or I get to buy a vowel or whatever. I want to just say that I'm putting in effort and I'm creating a stable and safe and secure life. This is kind of an illusion. We are always subject to divine timing. No matter how hard you try to stabilize your life, something can come along and shake things up. In fact, I guarantee that something will at some point. But nevertheless, as human beings, we're trying to do what we can to safeguard our house. That's why we put locks on the doors. That's why we have windows, That's why we that's why we make sure that there's gas in the car. That's why we try to keep a little money in the bank, this sort of thing. That's why we try to pay our bills. We try to keep some food in the refrigerator and in the cupboards, right? We're trying to plan and we're trying to create a little bit of security for ourselves. A little bit of something stable and something reliable. because we don't want to just be tossed around on the wheel randomly. So we're rejecting this and we're saying, no, I'm in control, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to make things better for myself. And yes, we need to, and we need to continue along this path. We need to not be tempted to make decisions that are going to be contrary to our own best interests, but we have to also embrace the Wheel of Fortune. We have to admit that there are things outside of our control. There are things that we cannot change. No matter how stable we think we're building our life, something can happen like this, and that could change everything. Okay? And I feel like once we're okay with that, then I feel like we kind of are, we're sort of activating the Wheel of Fortune to work in our favor a little bit. We're almost like we're asking for more luck. We're bringing, and luck is something I think we can attract to us. We can create more luck in our life, you know, by accepting that there are going to be things that happen that we have zero control over. And I think by trusting in the universe a little bit, trusting in ourselves, trusting in our ability to control our life, no matter how illusory that control might be, we can work in tandem with the divine energy. We can work in tandem with the Wheel of Fortune. And we can activate this card, and the Wheel of Fortune will start conspiring to help us. And we will be raised up. Okay, and we will find a way to kind of get to the top of the wheel and stay there more or less. Okay, so it is a combination between our hard work, our ability to control things, our strength and our resilience to deal with the ups and downs of life, and of course our trust in the divine, our trust in our own intuition, and to trust that we are a microcosm of the macrocosm, that we are spirit. Okay, and if we have this, which you do, you have this configuration of energies with these major arcana cards, I feel like you're activating your luck. I feel like a lot of good things are going to happen for you. We've got to continue to make good decisions, and I think with our good decisions, we're going to find a lot more good opportunities to take advantage of. Your world is going to expand. Okay, things are going to get better for you. We don't want to ignore the intuition here. We don't want to ignore the Wheel of Fortune, because if we try to deny this and just stay sort of laser focused, keep the blinders on and focus on what we're doing, we may miss out on a lot of opportunities. Okay, if we reject this meaningful coincidence of life, then I think that we're going to miss a lot of opportunities. I think that sometimes when challenging things happen, we rebel against that. But really, those challenging things that happen are either helping us to avoid something worse, or helping us to avoid a dead end or a wrong turn, or helping us to become to grow or change in a particular way that we need to in order to continue to build the life that we want. Okay? And I think we need to embrace all the ups and downs that are part of life. Okay? The High Priestess, the intuition, trusting in the divine, will never lead you astray. The intuition will always lead you to your Empress life. Never steer you wrong. Okay? In a way, we have to let Spirit take the wheel a little bit, and let Spirit be the hand upon the wheel. Okay? Let it be the flame before us and the hand upon the wheel. And let it steer our chariot to our best life and the fulfillment of our true will and our goal, right? Let's look at the mystery card. Empress, maybe. Chariot, maybe. Spirit will be the flame before us and the hand upon the wheel. And we will let Spirit steer our chariot to the fulfillment of our true will. Let's see what we have. Oh, it's the moon. Oh, the moon is that's your superpower card. This is the card that is associated with the sign of Pisces. We have Pisces, we have Aries here. So it's kind of like, it's almost saying don't go too far into the Aries evolution. Don't lose all your Pisces-ness, you know? You still have to remember that your Pisces is one that sort of trusts in fate, trusts in the universe, trusts in the divine, in destiny, believes in all that stuff, right? So it's kind of like you're in the dark, scary forest, and sometimes we have to just kind of not try to force our way out of the forest like an emperor would, right? Kind of just getting pumped up and getting kind of aggressive and just charging out of the forest. Maybe we have to let ourselves be guided a little bit. So in a way, this sort of brings in a little bit of that yin energy, right? Because Pisces, you're a water sign. Aries, Emperor, obviously, is a fire sign. So kind of going from a lot of yang to bring in a little bit of that yin, right? A little bit of that, I'm going to follow the star. I'm going to follow the high priestess. I'm going to let the high priestess guide me through this. So again, it kind of is like we're letting spirit take the wheel. Yeah. I think this card is signaling a major change in life. I think a big leveling up. I think the sun is about to rise. I think everything right now that feels sort of scary and difficult and challenging is going to give way to broad daylight, warmth, joy, prosperity. Okay? As a result, mostly of your effort, but a little bit of luck too. Yeah. We're going to do an extended reading. We'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards as well. There's a link in the corner. There's a link down below. New readings for Pisces on Thursdays and Sundays. Be sure to watch both readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. The readings are totally free. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.